Come to where the flavor is. Come to Marlboro Country.
Hi, this is William. You just saw a possible hook that we thought we would do for our lesson. We being Natalie, August, Gunnar, and I, Social Studies cohorts for 3SB. This is a lesson we came up with. We were making use of materials and curricula provided by this Smoking and Society unit from the California Center for College and Career. But just to go over this, and using the 3SB template. So it's a grade 10 world history. The literacy strategy focus, we kind of focus on the main activity that we are doing in this lesson, which is students using provided documents, internet or printed, or research their own, and identify and explain key events in chronological order. Related skills we put that would support this general strategy, collaborative discussion, internet research, related to the content focus, which is major social economic factors on the history of tobacco in America and its impact on the rest of the world. Content standards, we're able to find that aligned. The history of social science is related to the content, how increased scientific understanding of medical factors about tobacco have changed how tobacco is viewed. The ELA and ELD standards relate more to the literacy skills that we are trying to teach here. Instructional learning objectives. So you'll notice the verbs here are bolded, and actually they appear again down here in language functions. Explain, track, identify. This is a trick we learned from the veterans in the course. One note, the track refers to the making of the timeline, putting events in chronological order. And I've seen some documents that said that order or sequence might be better words to use for that instead, but that is the basic idea. The assessments, we have some informal assessments, oral pair sharing, completion of a handout, a quick write at the end. The formal is the timeline that's the main thing that you'll see in the lesson. Okay, language function. I already discussed the verbs that we used in the learning objectives. The vocabulary is mostly specifically related to the topic, especially names of organizations that are involved that they would find in their timeline research. The discourse we came up with was kind of what the class was going to be doing for most of the class, which was discussion and collaborative research. So that's how we came up with that. The resources and materials are pretty self-explanatory. Prior knowledge, we just made an assumption that sophomores would have learned about smoking from previous health classes and have been seeing, these smoking PSAs on TV and the internet and whatnot. So the lesson itself, the anticipatory or transition, we kind of imagine that they would be just finishing a lesson on the Columbian Exchange, would of course relate to crops being introduced in both hemispheres. The hook, so you saw the video at the beginning, it would be that and a more modern anti-smoking PSA, and then get some written, perhaps oral feedback on how they believe, why they think tobacco smoking was once portrayed as healthy and why that perception has changed over time. The focused instruction. The teacher will provide direct instruction on the history of tobacco with a lecture. While he's doing that, the students can review the handout and highlight the key facts. During this time, students will have the opportunity to ask the teacher to address any key terms they did not understand, so it's another form of check for understanding there. On the differentiating and scaffolds, basically we modify the handouts for ELs and struggling students to have additional vocabulary words. Accelerated students have the option or expectation to help their fellow classmates. The guided learning practice section. So this time we will have them pair up according to skill levels and work on the handout together, and pair share, and then the teacher will walk around. So again, a form of informal assessment, as well as the class discussion on history of tobacco and changing attitudes towards tobacco. And again, the scaffolds and differentiating would be most, again, we're pairing up advanced students and struggling students. Independent practice. So this will be the section where we have them create a chronological timeline of at least 15 events. They will have the option of getting information from the handout that they already have, that they've worked on. We will also be providing possible internet sources that they can look up on their own to add to the timeline. Differentiating, so we give a more pre-formatted organizer for English learners and struggling students. Accelerated students, give them the option to have more than 15 events or make a more detailed timeline as they so choose. And finally, the closure is a quick write, just a reflection on what, based on the discussion, based on their work on the timeline, what to think about these questions, and to just do a reflection, a quick write. It's an informal assessment. And then the rest of the timeline will be as homework.